Okay, this was actually a slightly tricky question. It said normally when you see a box plot question and it's an early one, you think it's straightforward, but this actually kind of made me stop and think. So it gives us a box plot. It doesn't give us the lower quartile and the upper quartile. It gives us L and U. But it says the interquartile range is 20 grams, so U minus L is 20. Then it says there are no outliers. Now this is actually the important point here. If there are no outliers, then what does that mean? Well, I'll get to that in a second. So find the minimum possible value of U. So outliers, there's a formula we need to know for outliers, and the formula is any value that is more than 1.5 times the interquartile range above the upper quartile or below the lower quartile is considered an outlier. So if I do 1.5 times the interquartile range plus U, this has to be, well, if there are no outliers, 75 has to be less than this, or less than or equal to this. So 75 is less than or equal to this, because this is the boundary for the outlier. So if there's no outlier, then the boundary or the outliers will be bigger than the boundary. But it says there are no outliers, so 75 is not an outlier, so it has to be smaller than the boundary, if that makes sense. So I'm going to do 1.5 times 20 plus U has to be greater or equal to 75. And then 1.5 times 20 is 30. 30 plus U is greater or equal to 75. And then obviously U has to be greater or equal to 45. Now guys, it says find the minimum possible value of U. So the minimum possible value of U, min value of U, is 45. That's the smallest possible value it could be. Because if you go back now, if that was 45, an outlier is anything that is 1.5 times the interquartile range above 45, which would be 30 above that, or so more than that. But 75 is that, so 75 is okay. Okay, and then it says hence find the minimum value of L. Well, that bit's actually quite easy, because then if this is the minimum value of U, the minimum value of L is just going to be 45 minus that interquartile range, which is 25. Because if 45 is the minimum value of U, L has to be 20 less than this, because the interquartile range is 20. So then the minimum value of L is 25.